It's all right. Mine never mattered, guys. Mine never
All
mattered.
right, now you're good.
Okay. Just get my handy dandy markers. Okay. You good? All right. Let's restart. Ever since I was 10, I have had this quote hanging on my wall. I have looked at it almost every day, and it reminds me that reading is a part of everyone's life, whether they like it or not. There's no denying that reading is an essential component of how some people live. Not everyone values it as much as others, but I know that books are a very valuable part of my life. That is why I decided to develop my project around what I love doing most, reading. I wanted to find out a way to show people how important it is to me, and hopefully I could inspire others to feel the same way and challenge themselves in the process. For my senior project, I read 5 books and wrote a review for each one, and created a website through Google Sites where I published those reviews for the public to access. My goal was to reach as many people as possible and hopefully influence anybody I could to read these books. When I was coming up with the whole idea for my senior project, I was obviously inspired by my love of reading. And since I read all the time, I had to incorporate something outside of my realm of comfort. I couldn't just write a one-page review and call it a day. So I decided to see what I could do with my inability to use any sort of technology besides my phone. When I was brainstorming and developing my ideas, I needed to do something challenging, and I settled on this. I wanted to test my limits by configuring a website to be as awesome as the vision in my head. Throughout the process of developing my website, my main goal was to not make it a complete headache to navigate, and also not to make anyone bored out of their minds. I tried my best to make it pleasing, refreshing, and as consistent as possible. By consistent, I mean cohesive throughout all the subpages and just very clean and pleasing to the eye. It was really fun learning how to customize and personalize it so that my personality showed through. As you can see, my favorite color is pink. Now, while I was creating the review page, I had 3 main sections / categories. An about section, the actual book review, and a final thought section. I also put the title of the book I was reviewing at the top of the page. The about section includes author, date of publication, genre, and page count. I also included the book description, which is the blurb found on the back of most books. I did this because I wanted people to get a feel for what the book was generally about before they read the actual review. Now, the review section includes only the review. I focused more on the author's writing style and how the book made me feel and how it affected me, rather than critiquing the events that happened in the book and discussing specific plot points. I did this because I wanted my reviews to be as spoiler-free as possible and just get the readers interested and excited to read it. I know I hate spoilers, and I'm sure everyone else does too. Having the reader find out what happens would defeat my whole purpose of influencing the public to read these books. In the final thought section, I included some concluding remarks, and if I recommended the book. Spoiler alert, I recommend all the books that I read. Then I included a link to buy a specific book I reviewed, and all of them were from Amazon. The books I read and reviewed in order were Circe by Madeline Miller, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston again, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller again, and Fred and Ginger Are Learning to Dance by the one and only Mrs. Joy Dusty. These books were on my to-be-read list, so I figured I would choose these books. And I also chose the books that were written by the same author because I wanted to compare the novels to each other and see what they had in common and what they didn't. I had never read any of these books before, and it was fun writing my genuine reactions to all of them. For the research portion of my project, I wanted to focus on the history of ebooks. I thought it would be interesting to learn about because ebooks are electronic versions of printed books, and I was electronically reviewing printed books. So it kind of ties together. And since my challenge was technology, I figured through learning about how ebooks were invented, it would help me understand the technology behind certain devices that I was using, and including books. Let me just say that the amount of books and information we have at our fingertips is absolutely incredible. It is insane. Throughout the summer, my eyes have been opened to the realms of possibilities when it comes to critiquing books and dealing with technology. Before I was going to publish my website, I had this moment of realization that people I didn't even know would be reading my words. Even though I knew it was going to happen, and that was the point of everything, it was still very intimidating. But thinking of the positive influence I could have on someone was my motivation. Going back to the quote in the beginning, that quote could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, much like books themselves, or the reviews on them. But nevertheless, books will always be there for all of us forever. And there's the link to my Google website if you want to take a picture. And it's also on the bio on my Instagram, at MADTERR. Any questions? Any questions? Yes?
Okay, so what was your favorite book?
Probably The Song of Achilles. I don't think I've ever cried as much during a book as when I read that one.
I was thinking my next question is what made it connect with you?
It was just so heart-wrenching and tragic, and it was just so beautifully written that it was my favorite. And Circe was written that way as well, but the whole premise of The Song of Achilles just tugged at my heartstrings, so it just made me cry.
That was better than the first one?
Yes. Alicia? Not really. These were on my to-be-read list. I don't know. Not really, I guess. So I kind of wanted to step out of my comfort zone in that realm as well, aside from the technology, because I probably wouldn't normally read these books if I didn't do the project. So, any more questions?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.